Hey everybody, it's Book of Katherine. Welcome to Insider Movies. It's been a really long time, I know, but I figured after the week we've had and the book I just shared, I think we need a break. I was like, this is a time for Insider Movies. It's definitely time for Insider Movies. I need a break. I'm sure we all need a break. And so that is what the movies were made for, is for a break. So I really loved learning that we all used to love to go to the movies more than we did TV, that TV was on a downturn in the 1940s, and that we like to go to the movies. I think it is really a sign we used to like to go out and be in a community and watch things together and be together. And I remember they used to actually do newsreels before the movies. It's really neat. You can still find some of those newsreels. Those newsreels have really preserved history for us. So it's really neat to find those newsreels and find out what was going on. So anyway, so here are the movies that I have that I would like to recommend. I'll tell you, I'm just going to go through it quickly because I'm writing the book and I'm pretty tired. I was trying to, anyway, I'll tell you that at the end. Okay, so number one is Amadeus. I love Amadeus, and I don't think I've recommended it yet. I can't remember how much is what I've done with my insiders, how much I've done with you, but I love Amadeus. I have loved Amadeus since I was a little kid. I don't know who shared it with me or my family. I can't remember if we had it on like tape or DVD or what, but I remember just being a young, you know what, maybe it was the costuming or the makeup. I love Amadeus. I love that movie. I love that movie. It's about Mozart, and it is, it's written well, it's performed well. I don't know how historically accurate it is. I'm sure that they would love to paint all, I don't want to get into politics, but it is just a feast for the imagination, and it is just pure beauty, and I really love it, and it goes up and down. It's just, if you are into drama, then it is a great movie to watch, and it's very lush, the way they used to do movies with like the big cast and huge music. They used his music in it, and you get to see why his music was so popular, why it's a classic for so long. They don't play it anymore because, you know, it's Western Civ, but boy, it is just booming, and you'll really fall in love with the music as well, why it's so absolutely amazing, because it goes to the background of this movie and makes an amazing movie soundtrack, just an incredible movie soundtrack. You're just like, dang, and they just do the soundtrack with it, and it is incredible. So as much whether it's based in fact or fiction, it is absolutely exquisite, and it is an amazing story, if that makes sense. So wonderful movie, and did really well at a time when it mattered, and I just love it. So so that's good for drama. And number two, I love this one. It kept being recommended for our group, but I had never seen it, and I was like, we got to get these other movies in, and I think we saw it when I was down on my recovery, and that's Logan's Run, and I was just like, I should have listened to my people, and I should have just watched what they said to watch, because it was this incredible movie, Logan's Run, and I kind of felt gypped as a kid that I hadn't seen it. I really felt gypped as a kid that I hadn't seen it. And what was funny, though, when I was watching it, Logan's Run is kind of like a sci-fi, but I think everyone will love it, if that makes sense. I think everyone will love it. It's one of those movies where it was made a long time ago, but it was made in color, and it didn't feel old at all. Like, it didn't feel old at all. Like, I was like, I was just so shocked. Like, everyone was enraptured, all of us, all ages. We were just like glued to the TV, and we loved it. But I remember there's this part where the girl she dives into the water, and she comes up, and her makeup is just like pristine and perfect. And actually a number of them dive into the water, and they have this glorious makeup on, and they're coming out just perfect. And I was just like, yeah, in the 60s, which is when I think it was made, I was like, in the 60s, they had waterproof makeup. Like, they want us to make us think that waterproof makeup is like, you know, that the older makeup, it wasn't already bombed the house. But it was. Like, it all does it all, and it does everything. And, you know, technology hasn't moved anywhere as far as it's going to makeup. Like, it's been around, and movie makeup has been rather phenomenal for a long time. I was like, look at that. It goes nowhere. It was like she hadn't even been in the water. Like the rest of her, like her hair was wet and the rest of her was just like, bing. And I was like, you got it. And you know, people laugh that that's what I noticed, you know, as she came out of the water. So, because it was like during like this, I don't want to give any of the movie away, but it is an amazing, amazing film. And it is timeless. It is timeless and it's kind of heart pumping and it's just like a good story and it's just such a good story and it's so relevant. I mean, it's set in the future and it's still set in the future. It's just so relevant and so now and fresh and you guys are going to love it. I really wish that I had listened and watched, you know, more when I wish I'd watched it earlier with the group instead of being like, but these movies have to be seen. I really, and maybe it's because I was paying too much attention to that AFI Top 100 list, you know, and going with that and these movies or whatever. But that movie, my goodness, and you'll really enjoy that as a break. Especially, I think especially, I don't even know if like Trekkie fans know about it and stuff like that, which would be totally, it should be there. I think it's before Star Trek and stuff like that. This is better. Like, it's just better. I don't know. I know you guys like to debate, but it's in that vein, but it was just, I would say that the majority are not sci-fi people in the group. It's kind of died away, right? That part of culture, sci-fi or whatever. And it didn't play that way. It was such a good just story, you know, like the Greeks wrote about what humans need as far as story, and it just does that. So you don't feel like that. You feel like it's just an action movie. And it's a good action movie. So, and then third, I'm doing Adventures in Babysitting, because I know you guys go through the movies. You guys are going through them in a single day, and I'm like, I cannot keep up with you. So, Adventures in Babysitting, I know I recommended it during the summer. I don't think I've done an Insider Movies review on it. Adventures in Babysitting is hilarious. I cannot remember, but it's hilarious, and it has a number of people before they were bigger on the screen, like Elizabeth Shue and Vincent D'Onofrio. That's hysterical. And so why do I feel like, shut up. So if I've talked about it before, I apologize. Let's just get that done. So yeah, so Vincent D'Onofrio's in it, and it's hysterical to see, like, he said he's been in like 169 movies and he'll be remembered for a TV show. He thinks that's really interesting. And I was like, really? And then the next time we watched Adventures in Babysitting, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, he must be right. How many more movies have I just not noticed him in, you know, because it was just with me as a child. Like, it was just that guy in the movie, you know, the one with the red hat. So anyway, but Adventures in Babysitting is great. It's a great capsule of the 80s or the late 80s culture. And one of the things that I do want to point out in it is that it's all based around babysitting. Babysitting used to be a really big thing. Speaking of Jordan Peterson and date nights, that I just did a video on dating and date nights and when you're adults. And I realized, actually, we did used to date into adulthood. Before the divorce rate really went skyrocketing on both sides, on both black and white communities, the dating culture for marriages was big. I mean, that was a big thing. I remember even my parents went out dating. We had babysitters all the time. And friends and family, like friends, they would go out, and there was a lot of dinner tables. There was a lot of that happening at our house. There was a lot of big dinner tables that came around. You know, social media wasn't around when I was a little kid. And so they have big dinner tables at the houses. Like, they'd rotate and go to dinner, big groups at houses and have big dinner parties. And just I remember everybody would have a big table with like 10 seats. And then the kids would have like a kids table. That's where that phrase came from, with a kids table. It didn't come from weddings. It came from all like the dinner nights everyone would have. And then it would give you something to look forward to on weekends. That would be what you did. You didn't go out and spend your money. What you did is you went and spent time with friends and talking with everybody and catching up on life and socializing. And I got to tell you, like, I was listening to Candace Owens and some of the things that she did as a child, and she said my education came from books. I read a lot when she was, and I made a post about that on my actual website on bookofkatherine.com, which I know I don't have a lot on there. I need to get an assistant. I'm working on trying to get a job so that I can actually pay for an assistant. I'm getting off track again. Anyway, so Adventures in Babysitting. So you will see there's a reason the movie was made. the couple went out on went out to a dinner party. Job and companies used to have nights where business guys got together and did networking. Like the big companies didn't hold networking. The workplaces held networking, and that's where you talked about business and things like that. But also people would go out to dinner. And so everyone had these gowns to get dressed up in, and I'm finding those gowns at vintage stores. That's what I'm finding. Like when I talk to the women there, they're just like, oh yeah, well, that's the kind of gowns that they would wear when people went out to their dinner nights. And I realized with Adventures in Babysitting, when I thought about giving it to you, I was like, that's right. Like my parents had, you know, they went out all the time, and my parents weren't wealthy. Like I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. So, Space 1999. I just saw someone recommend that on Twitter, someone that I like, and they forwarded it, and I was like, I've never seen that before. They were saying it's really interesting watching it today. So it doesn't have my stamp of approval, but it's something that I'm going to be trying to watch this weekend to try and kind of decompress from everything that we learned this week. So if you have not seen that yet, I will include that at the end here of the video. I'll include what I just posted this week. And then, yeah, enjoy Insider Movies and enjoy those movies, and try gathering with an actual group of people this time. Not online, actual people. You know, we're seeing, they don't show it to you very often, but we're seeing the results of what happens when you don't actually know people. Like, you think that you know people, but you can put on a good face online. You don't really know a person. Oh, they've done studies that you said you can communicate. They've actually done studies that say that you can communicate with a person online, chat, do everything you want to do until you meet the person. You learn more in a person in the first 5 minutes of meeting, I think, than you can spend any amount of history. You can be with someone 10 years online, but if you meet them, you learn more information about them in that first meeting than you ever do online. And so just be aware that you can get a lot more community, you know, if you need support groups and things like that. In person is the way to do it. And I'm going off about everything. See, I should go. All right, I love you so much for Insider Movies. I love you. Bye. I apologize for rambling. So that I must really need to lay down. I don't want to have another episode on you. Bye. I'm out. I'm out. Bye. Please donate down below. I've been forgetting to say that. If you could please donate down below, your medical help is really going to... Here we go again. Okay, I better just go.